Hey, happy week 3. Man, can't believe we're already in week 3. This week is going to be a little bit easier than the last 2 weeks. The only assignment that you have this week is a discussion forum after, of course, you finish chapters 5 and 6, which is the end of the novel. So let's go ahead and go into our class. It'll be under week 3. The video that you're watching right now, of course, will be right here, and then, of course, you'll do week 3 of Mice and Men. So this week you will finish reading chapters 5 and 6 and respond to a discussion question. Step 1, of course, watch the class video, then download the chapters and read chapters 5 and 6, and then respond to the discussion question. So let's look real quick. The download, of course, of the chapters starts on page 2. Chapters 5 and 6 are the end of the novel. You'll complete that reading, and then, of course, you'll respond to the discussion question. I want to spend a little time talking about the discussion question so that you kind of understand what I'm looking for when you're responding. So let's go over here, discussion 1. So your instructions are to respond with at least 7 to 10 sentences. Please use 2 examples from the novel. That doesn't mean you have to pull quotes from the novel. It just means that you have to be able to explain what part of the novel has made you answer the way that you're answering, okay? Don't copy and paste from the novel because that'll be plagiarism. I just want to know what you think with support from what you've read. So if there was a piece in the novel that where Lenny did something or where George did something that you're like, man, that really helps support what I'm about to say, you can tell me George did this during chapter whatever, and it made me believe, or it makes me believe that this and this, okay? So what you're focusing on this week is the female characters in the novel. We know that there are a lot of male characters, but there are definitely 2 female characters, one of which is talked about quite a bit, and that's Curly's wife. So female characters in the novel are rare, but Curly's wife and the woman in the velvet dress, that's all the way at the beginning of the novel, are very important characters in George and Lenny's future. Interestingly, John Steinbeck, who's the author of the novel, never gives these women names. What role do women play in the novel, and why do you think they are never given names? So you have to think back to what the woman in the velvet dress, or how she was related, not related, but how she related to Lenny and George's situation. And then, of course, once you finish chapters 5 and 6, you'll understand how Curly's wife plays a really big role pretty close to the end, and of course she plays a role earlier on in the novel, but you have to really think about what role she's playing, and then why you think she wasn't given a name, and neither was that woman in the velvet dress. Think about what John Steinbeck was trying to do, and then think about what it does for the novel. Most importantly, after you've done the discussion question, is responding to one of your classmates. You have to respond to at least one person, and your response will not count if all you do is say, I agree, or I disagree, or I like that, or that's cool. It has to be substantial. You have to think about why you're responding to them, other than the fact that I've asked you to do that. And you need to respond with good thoughts. Don't make any assumptions towards them. Don't tell them that they're wrong. Simply respond with what your thoughts are on their response, and it has to be kind. You cannot be rude towards them, okay? So each person will make a new discussion. Make sure that you do this section, this one response. That is the only way that you can completely get the grade for this discussion question. So that is it for this week. It's going to be a pretty simple week. You can do it a little later in the week. Again, if you have not read chapters 1 through 4, I highly recommend that you go back and do that, because you'll need that to help you with the discussion question. You have to have at least one example from chapters 1 through 4 and one example from chapters 5 and 6, okay? So make sure that you're prepared to do that by going back and refreshing your memory, or perhaps reading it for the first time. If you haven't done any of the assignments for week 1 and 2, please make sure you go back and do that. Remember, this is pass or fail. If you don't do it, you fail, and so that really could impact you. And I'd rather you guys not end up in that situation. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message, a text message, a remind, an email, a video conference if you want to talk about anything that goes on in these last 2 chapters, because it's going to be a little interesting in these last 2 chapters, especially when you realize what actually happens in chapter 5, okay? So you guys let me know if you need any support in any way, okay? And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.